When you cut off an arm, that's painful.
Yeah.
You know, when you die, most likely it'll be painful. You
Yes.
know, unless you're dying to sleep, but whatever. I mean, but the act of dying and the act of crucifying is a painful death. What Jesus went through was painful.
Yes.
So when we die to sins, it'll be painful.
Yeah.
I mean, you, if you don't mind, you should share about how you handle the Lord, because you said about the trembling, and I'm sure.
I feel like
it
I don't
didn't
even
feel fun.
preach hard enough through
Yeah.
what I encountered. But when I encountered the Lord, just quickly, He came and He caused me to tremble with so much fear. I knew if I slipped out of consciousness, God was going to throw me into hell. I knew it beyond the shadow of a doubt. So I didn't want to sleep. I didn't want to eat. I didn't want to play video games. I didn't want to do anything. Talk about being severed, and this is the mercy of the Lord, and I feel Him right now. I was so terrified that I couldn't even get my hand to sin.
Yeah.
I couldn't even move it, really. I was literally like dead.
Yeah.
Like if
Man.
sin tries, there wasn't even an appeal because I was filled with the terror of the Lord, and you can't even explain it, which is how I knew He came. You know, because you try to preach these things, people don't get them, but when He comes upon you, you get it.
Yeah.
You get it, you
Yeah.
get it. And so I knew if I go to sleep right now, He's going to throw me into hell. And I trembled in my core so much. I thought I was going to die. My heart was beating so hard. I thought it can't beat like this and sustain me. This has to stop sometime. Well, it didn't really stop for 2 weeks. I mean, it might have died down a little bit, but it was so bad. I became possessed by the Spirit of God. I looked up in the sky constantly thinking Jesus was going to come back and slay me. Which, by the way, He's coming back to slay the wicked, but to receive the righteous. So I thought He was going to slay me. You know what I did? I would sit on the couch and say, Lord, save me, save me, save me. Have mercy on me, have mercy on me. I'm sorry, I repent. I won't live like this again, I promise. Just save me. What must I do to be saved is what they cried out on the day of Pentecost. What do I do?
Yeah.
If you're going to terrify me like that and throw me into hell, will you give me a chance?
Yes. Yeah.
And people want to say, well, Sam, you're a little overzealous. Well, 3 years down the line, do I look overzealous seeing other people delivered? And this is just the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is just the beginning.
Hallelujah,
I
yeah.
gave my life to the Lord. You gave
Lord,
your life to the
yes.
Lord. So we'll see massive fruit produced.
Absolutely.
Out of one encounter with God, obviously you have to discipline yourself. And if you don't have an encounter like that, let me tell you, He's free to encounter you.
Absolutely.
And it can be the love of God
Absolutely.
washing over you. But if you get in the Word, you'll have encounters with Him where the peace of God that surpasses all understanding is there. But I knew the message He gave me. Tell my people to repent. Why? Because I was His people, but in rebellion.
Yeah.
So, by the way, that means you still go to hell, but you're a rebellious child of God.
Yeah.
So the punishment for a rebellious child of God is more severe than it is for somebody who doesn't know the way.
yes.
The Bible clearly talks about
Yes.
that. And we think it's lighter because I have a knowledge of God. It's actually more severe. I'll be judged by the amount of sermons I heard. I'll be judged by the word I knew intellectually. They don't have a word to be judged by. They don't know.
Yeah.
So they're just judged for the rebellion. But yes, we need that. We need to know the terror of the Lord. Paul said, knowing the terror of the Lord, I work to persuade men.
Yes.
It's a fear. He says it's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God.
Oh, yeah.
So when you understand that, I said, Lord, if you're that terrifying, I'm going to find out if you're loving. So I turned on a few lukewarm preachers to feed me some lies about superficial peace, and it worked a little bit, but thank God I didn't fall into the trap of following those teachings and go hyper grace because of the encounter I had.
Yeah.
I knew He wasn't like how they're talking about because He's also severe. And Romans 11:22 says, notice how God is both kind and severe. It's both. And it's both the love of God. It didn't say He's loving or severe. It says He's kind or severe because His kindness and His severity are the love of God to keep us walking on the straight and narrow path.